Oh, Neil, that's for, wait a minute, Dion, David, Gian, Dave. Say that
I'll,
again.
I'll change it. It's Gian das Prem.
Thank you so much. And then also there's City Park. Okay. So here we go. So, let's begin tuning up, and inhale and do some more heart breath. And inhale. Oh,
Namo 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 Adgure Name Jugadgure Name Adgure Name Siddhigure Name Adgure Name Jugadgure Name Jugadgure Name Sadgure Name Siddhigure Name Adgure Jugadgure Name Sadgure Name Siddhigure Name.
Long deep breath. And inhale. Exhale. Okay. So, Kelly, this means that we are going to contact to people, this guy, yogi, wonderful yogi from Baba Siddhi Chan. Okay. And so now we're going to meditate for 3 minutes as people listen to hear from Yogi Bhajan. Not Yogi Bhajan, Baba Siddhi Chand. Sorry, excuse me. And so this concept is to the question from Baba Siddhi Chand is listening for happy. And I was amazed from Baba Siddhi Chand to also say horrendous. I went, what? Yes, it's understand about the opposites. Do you understand that?
No.
With happy, HPPY,
Yes.
and the opposed is
opposites.
happy, HAPPY. You got that? And the other one is horrendous, HORRENDOUS. I hope that, and there is Hot City also. Okay. Okay. Do you all get that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Now 3 minutes, meditate and continue. And inhale. Exhale. And continue. Okay. Sun City.
Satnam, I'm here.
Okay.
So I'm just a bunch of stuff came flooding back.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the thing that came back that frames everything that I got is a joke from Guru.
A Joke?
Yes, which is
Okay.
what's the difference? Maybe I've told this before, but it's been important in my life. It's a joke from one of our really great spiritual teachers. And it was, what's the difference between somebody who was born with serious learning difficulties, intellectual learning disabilities, and then somebody who's neurotic? Anybody have a guess?
No.
At least the person, this is a spiritual answer to a spiritual question from Guru, the guy who did all the recordings and all that stuff. And he said, at least the person, so the psychiatrist says, at least the person with intellectual impairments can change, where the neurotic person can't. And what I got about horror, and I mostly got this because I had to study horror film across cultures really carefully, and I was drawn to it on a spiritual level, which is a kind of weird spiritual connection. That's what it was. Because there's so much of our lives, I would say television news is based on the horror genre, horror stories. And basically those stories are set up to never address fundamental spiritual challenges, which is the monster. The basic structure of it is that a terrible monster comes into the scene and all the problems get projected onto that horrible monster. And then you destroy the monster eventually, like, Frankenstein gets killed, Godzilla gets killed after all the mayhem and destruction. And then nothing changes. So that's been an important metaphor for me in my spiritual life going better, because I think what my teacher, and he's a really famous guy, Guru something, I can't remember his name right now, but he's a teacher, and he was Yogi Bhajan's right-hand dude in the Boston area.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the joke he told me, is almost like a koan that said,
Mhm.
City, I want you to think about this, because this is you. So it was a painful but very wonderful challenge, spiritual challenge. That was our session after one of the solstices, that I was being neurotic and couldn't change. And I had choices. So the monster gets killed and everything goes back to quote normal. But the monster is what challenges normality, or, what our spiritual conventions are. And then we kill the monster, but I don't change. I'm going to take this all as I statements. So it brought me way back to my early years in the Kundalini Sikh path, and what a courageous teacher he was. And he knew just how much he could push me or push his students. And he was fearless about doing it. And I am eternally grateful. Because when I start creating a monster story, I think that's it. It's you.
Are you
What is
talking about Yogi Bhajan?
No, what was the name of the guy from the Boston area? was Yogi Bhajan's right-hand man right from the start.
Oh, let's see.
I know, it's hard to remember
I
the name
can't
now.
remember either. Okay.
Yeah, but it'll come to us eventually. And he counseled, he did counseling, and he was I think he was for sure a certified or trained counselor, but I think he was even could have been a psychiatrist. He was way up there in really tackling spiritual problems that were diagnosed as mental health challenges. So he used that language a lot, but it was really a spiritual project. And, he was fearless about confronting me. I'm only going to speak for me. It was an important teacher for me early in the game. Besides Yogi Bhajan, who I didn't see personally, but just had a lot of dreams. Yogi Bhajan's thing was, you are not a sheep. You are a shepherd. Get it together, whatever. I hope I'm making sense. But the horror part of it, what was the other word we were contrasting? For me, horror is the denial of the reality of my areas that need to grow. And what were we contrasting with this? What was your question?
Happy
Happy.
and horrendous.
Yeah, horrendous is being trapped in a cycle. For me, I'm just saying my experience of horror, like the monster movie, where there's an enemy, but it's never going to actually change. Well, happy for me in this path has been transformation. And there's a lot of tools, yoga, Kundalini yoga, tantric, challenging spiritual people who are not afraid to confront. And I learned from them how to confront. I'm aware now of when I start doing a horror story about someone or some situation, and it's like a pathway of victimization. So, and of course, a victim trip is designed to not change anything. So that's the joke's definition of a neurotic person, which is somebody who can't change because it won't face the truth. I hope I'm making sense. Why I get it?
Well, that's good.
It's true. Sat City, it's the truth. It's a sat.
Okay.
Spiritual sat.
Okay, you called it what did you just say?
Neurotic.
Neurotic. That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
neurosis is creating I learned because my career was involved in American film history, so I learned we have a lot of horror stories. It's a very popular genre. It's like a ritual of going through, practicing, creating a monster so I don't have to change.
Huh. Okay. I got it. Thank you very much.
Satnam. God bless.
No. Okay, I'll give Paul.
Yeah. Happy and horrendous. And I asked Baba Siri-chan, what in the world? How can these two coexist? And first I heard about, the root of horrific or horrendous is horror. And then from that emanating this real fear, huge fear, and almost dark energy, a demonic energy. And so I asked Baba Siri-chan, how can one be happy in the presence of something horrific? And he showed me what's been going on in Gaza, what's been going on in well, in some of our own backyards, you know, in the homes around us and so forth. And what I heard was that my own mm, um, happy has a different now, a new connotation for me, a new meaning for me. And he said, happiness is when you give your life to the guru. That's true happiness. It's not an emotional. He told me, like, get away from the emotions, get away from the fear, and and uh, or reject the fear. Uh, don't put as much weight on emotions. And true happiness is peace that comes when I give my life to the guru. And somehow, you know, when, which is, he told me, my work now, the strength is being able to bear what I have to see when I give myself to the guru. In other words, what I have to see about myself, what I have to see about those around me. And he said, yeah. So, and then the final thing he said was, and which was also bothering me since this Lionsgate portal, and we kind of said last week that we all felt it, but we couldn't put our fingers on it. Is this notion of protection, and so the happiness that one has when one gives one's life to the guru, and and trust. He's saying one must trust the guru, and have uh, um, real um, clarity about this, and discernment about this. This is the guru working in my life. This is true, um, you know, true happiness, um, and this then will protect and from protect me. I'll use that from the all the forces that are around that are horrible, are horrendous forces of the demonic, of the of that, you know, of that are working now even against American democracy, etc. He went into that whole thing, and so anyway, so so that's kind of in a nutshell what I was given as my work is to strengthen this peaceful sense of content and comfort in giving my life to the guru.
Mhm.
And
Now wait, just one more thing.
yeah,
Agya Paul,
yeah.
I understand what you're talking about, but maybe you could tell Kelly what the word Kelly, what does that mean? No, guru, what does guru mean?
Oh, yeah, Kelly, welcome. I when I say guru, um, if you break guru up into two syllables, gu and ru, um, gu is darkness and ru is light. Uh, from the Aramaic, ruach. I mean, it's guru is the highest power of creation, another word for God.
Thank you.
And brings us from darkness to light.
Mhm.
And this is what life is all about now, you know, like cocooning ourselves in diamond white light for protection. And so this is Guru is tremendously working in our lives, and it's a matter of allowing and asking, and we gotta really want it, really want Guru in our life, and to that's because that's the only way we're going to face this these horrific things that are going on in the world. So
Thank you.
Kelly, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Good. Yay. Oh, and what were you going to talk about that before what? After something or other after that.
I have no idea.
Oh,
I think I said everything that, you know, I think I said everything. I mean, we're at war with the dark and the light. There's wars going on with peace and happiness and the horrific and the horrible and the monsters that Satiri is talking about, and some of which are within us. And but I could go on. I think this is a rich topic. But I think that's good for me because there are others who really need to go. Thank you for listening.
thank you. Okay. Okay, now Gian does Sprem.
Satnam and thank you. Wow. Okay, so Baba G, I'm coming off of a journey. I just came down from Mount Shasta, and
Oh,
I have witnessed a lot in that time, and it was just so beautiful having us all there and being able to feel all of our light and to just come into that courage. Just meeting the right people and coming together. It's actually my first retreat that I've been on. Anyway, so Bubba is coming in very powerfully with the arc line and this upright, fourth worthy, giving of ourselves to this land, which is providing the stars, the light, all of this, the planets and everything that are here for us, all of this energy, all of this movement that we see in the sky that we can lay down and, look up in the nighttime and see what that is. So for me, the beautiful part was coming together with people and the sharing of the stories. And I'll tell you, this person, I wouldn't expect to hear the story that I heard from this person of, she was talking to her mom and her mom said, okay, I'm just going to go for a walk. And then, the police called her and told her your mom has passed away. We're sorry. And she was able to come forth and tell this story with such strength. And it just reminded me of, my experiences in my life and having this light that we have inside of us of just seeing the light and how it can, change things that are here on this earth. The flowers, the way that things grow and the way that we can expand. And one of the first things I saw this morning was the troublesome look on certain people's faces who have problems leading. And when we want to become leaders or examples of the light, we need to accept the light. We need to let all of that light and that darkness into us to just sort of in a recreation of this transformation, that cocoon and that ability to lighten ourselves and strengthen ourselves at the same time to see all of this life is surrounding us, not just in our little bubble that holds everything, all of the air that anyone ever breathed, all of the actions that anyone is doing now, before, and all after, including all of the volcanoes and all of the life that it took to create, us arriving here from somewhere else and becoming part of who we are here with all of this here, and just sort of celebrating that happiness and coming together into a softer space where we can, we can feel that vibration, we can see that vibration. The technology is catching up, the science is catching up to our inner technology, to this ultimate technology that we've been given to have a chance to embrace the water, embrace all of these elements that have made us, and changing this inner part of us to be able to shine that light outwards, and we all have these just such horrendous stories of near death.
Yeah.
And, some of us are electrocuted and have our kidney blown apart and have arteries in our body melted and still manage to live. And then we can walk out into the world and somehow we just are able to see different things by accepting that. Accepting that, yeah. And Baba
Yeah.
Sari Chand has been telling me as we were climbing on the mountain that the light will show itself to you if you are willing and able to accept all of the pains of the people, of all of even what it took to create the mountain. In the earth may have seemed like a horrendous episode, but yet there's beauty in that episode, in that explosion, and that spreading of all the elements. And
Okay.
Baba, yeah, and Baba
Beyond,
is, yes, on
beyond
this.
us, friend. Again, to um, from Kelly, tell beyond us, Prem, for light. You have been talking about light. What is that?
Light is the source that allows us to be here speaking together to raise the consciousness of this planet to come back to the motherly womb of creation, which stays with us always. We are here. We stay here. We are breathing the same air that everyone has ever breathed. Air does not leave our bubble. This is a place of creation and constant change. And when we come into that center point of that, we have the ability to share all of that so that that compassion can surround the planet, to forgive ourselves and moving forward, to continue our corrections and noticing the difference between the dark and the light in preparation for the ultimate showing of the light between all of us, which is approaching from inside of each one of us in such a beautiful way that we get the chance to see this planet, to see all on this planet is just sacred, right? There
Yeah.
are different parts of societies, and I love, the people that speak before me and how we have this way of seeing, the people. For me and for Bubba, what Bubba is showing me is all the faces of all the people. The person who's living outside who has the beautiful dog, the person who has billions of dollars who just wants to keep it all. We are all the same. We are all the same light. We will find our lesson. There is a way for us to learn from the earth. There is a way for us to express ourselves through this vibration and changing that consciousness. We will change the consciousness. We are changing the consciousness. We are the consciousness. The consciousness is a light vibration, which allows us to travel beyond this planet, where we're from, to see where we're from, to see that light. We each have a light, a code, vibration that we can change, that we can act, that we can transform ourselves. And I think when we look into the theater, when we look into the arts, there's so many different ways of seeing that vigor, that courage in what's being done. Whether it's in any form, there is a middle. There is a point in the middle that we have a chance to stay in and bring it all in, to have those gurus, to have that most powerful person who does not want praise. They want unity. This is where we are. And the changing of our consciousness, the consciousness of the planet is trying to change us. This planet, the light that created all of the life that's here in us. And we are magical beings. And if we notice that in each other, I think we can see the change. We can see that person changing, we can it will. If it can happen during this lifetime, that's a beautiful thing. But as everyone changes and the consciousness changes, it has a way of seeping through like a flower, a rose. If you take a piece of a wild rose petal and just put it in your mouth and see the variation of changes and feelings, and it may be uncomfortable at first, but a rose is okay to eat. Flowers are okay to eat. Bugs are okay to eat. We have a certain way of moving about here. So and relative. It's all relative in our way of, seeing that the light of Orion, seeing the light of the Pleiadian, seeing the people from Venus and the spirits and the light and everything that came together that make us so small, that guru sense of bringing all the pieces together, of showing what our love is to freedom, total freedom of allowing, right? And it is a challenge, but it's something that we give forth from our soul during this life. And, if the light can be an example, it really doesn't, they don't have rules. They don't
Yeah.
have rules. They fly straight into the mountain. They look like a meteor. And then I asked the person, what color was it for you? And they said it was orange. For me, it was purple. For the other person, it was violet. But so it's undeniable, I think, when we can look and notice that point and, envision ourselves being beyond. And if we have to look at the telescopes and to see what outer space looks like and to see what inside of our bubble looks like more, exploring the earth. And we have all of these tools with us here now with the technology that's been brought forth out into the open, into the air for free sharing. And that this consciousness of that motherly womb of that, right. If I don't believe it, then let science look at my belly button and show that my mother and my father and all of my family before that, all of the whole world in that consciousness. And yeah, so Bubba has had me pointing into my belly button and, trying to look up and trying to go backwards to the way my body doesn't move. I'm 60 years old. My body, I have so many broken bones, broken neck, broken shoulder, broken, it's everything. Yeah, my legs. Okay, fine, let it go. Let that horrendous part of it go to see through that why. When, where, why, who, why, when, where, why. Always. We are always. We are always. We are invincible. We are light. And then in the letting go of that, there will be a consciousness for us to move further on to that and to return again into this beautiful vibration of that changing of the consciousness, which it's so beautiful. And as men, we can be happy. We've done so many horrendous things. Let's be happy, guys. Let's love where we came from, that womb. And to just notice the ways that we have of sharing and touching each other through our vibration or our smile or however we can. And Baba G, Baba me, Baba we. This is us. This is how we are moving forward in this beautiful time. And I'm just so thankful to be able to meet such people as ourselves and, new people who are just so amazing, angelic beings who are so freely here to speak with the trees and notice the beauty of all the difference of the life that's around us. And that Waheguru that we come forth with in our truth and noticing that there are corrections that will, we can be advancing, going up the step and reminding us that we're human.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, dear.
Waheguru. Thank you, Baba G.
Yeah.
Love to all. Love to all.
Okay. So you were talking about vibration, that spiritual see this light, right?
Absolutely. I have some beautiful pictures. If you'd like to share, I can share them with you after, personally.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you, dear. Okay. Now, Hadi Munder. Hadi Munder?
There I am. Okay.
Okay.
The first word I got instead of happy was joyous.
Mm.
And then gratitude in a way that I came across something that the other day that said, say it out loud to yourself. Be very specific. I am grateful for whatever whatever you come up with. And in the realm of the horrendous, finding that for which we're grateful, for which one is grateful, is a real tool to alleviate the heaviness. It's a like a little star, a little brightness, bright it's like a pinpoint that in the darkness, and as it becomes a habit, there's more pinpoints through that darkness. There are two quotes that I was thinking about, one of which I think comes from Baha'u'llah, the Baha'i faith. And it's at my cabin, and it's water has gotten over it, and I was trying to rewrite it when I was in Gustavus at my cabin last week. But essentially, it says something to the effect that until you can accept the worst, the horrendous, the horror with joy, you are not free. And I had a reaction to that. I mean, it's been up in the cabin for 30 years. And it took me a long, long time to even imagine it or have any understanding of how that could be. But the other quote that I've been carrying around in a frame since the 60s, I think, is a quote from Albert Camus. And it says, "To be born to create, to love, to win at games is to be born at a time of peace, in a time of peace. But war teaches us to lose everything and become what we are not. It is all a question of style." And other people seeing that poster that I've kept around for 60 years or more. I think they react to the last statement. It's a question of style, but it's the horror changes us. Maybe like Agyakal or Satsiri was saying, it's when the horror comes, we have to then deal with our own part of it. And as I'm saying that, then the Ho'oponopono comes up, that because we are all one, we each have contributed our own I am reluctant to say our own horror to the one, but since that's the word of the day,
Harimander,
yeah,
can you please talk about Ho'oponopono?
yeah. So Ho'oponopono is the healing modality of the ancient or traditional healers in Hawaii. And the words that have been brought in to make it easier to access the concept are I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And when faced with the horror, when faced with family situations that can't be dealt with at any other level than a spiritual or a vibrational level, you would think or say to yourself or out loud to that other person or that other situation, I love you. Because in the act of horror, that isn't ever heard. That is so rarely heard that it has to voice it, even in thought, has an effect. So I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that in me that has created in the whole one, because we've all contributed our own garbage to the one. I apologize for that in me that has contributed to all this. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So it is a way to access a situation or a person that we might label as horrendous, but a way to elevate and give those pinpricks of light to that situation or that group of people or however.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you so much, dear. That was good. Okay. Chapa Saraswati.
Satnam. So this one was really interesting for me, because with Happy and Horrendous, the first thing I heard from Baba was that it's two sides of the same coin, but it's the same thing. And then from there, we went to agony and ecstasy. And I don't know, Set City definitely knows the Charleston Heston film from like the mid 60s, The Agony and the Ecstasy, about Michelangelo. Um, anyway, um, okay, The Agony and the Ecstasy. I'm taking a left turn. Siri Gian, so I almost thought about calling you because on Wednesday last week, um, uh, somebody from the ashram, an ashram member, a young person, um, sent a message out onto our group text saying that he'd gotten the message to do chanting Om Gam Ganapatahe Namaha, which is for Ganesh, and Mata Kali. It was a translation that, anyway, it's a quirky translation of Mata Kali, but anyway, um, and so he said it was for 8 o'clock Wednesday night. So I went and chanted. We chanted for an hour, and it was pretty droning. Like this person really favors droning, humming sort of sound of chanting, which I like too. It's for me, it's more resonant of a different vibration of like the cave yogis. That's what I feel for droning chants. And after, there were probably about 15 of us that came out, which was a lot for a Wednesday night, on very short notice. And so you could feel the energy build because we were all really into it, and the room was very dark. And then after we chanted the first half hour for Ganesh and the second half hour for Kali, this the person said that he'd been doing these mantras, and that he got the message that there's a portal opening up, and that um and that he's been directed, and that we should all chant these mantras. And I loved it that they were Hindu mantras as opposed to 3HO mantras. And I loved it how the turnout was just so huge at the ashram. But anyway, the Kali mantra, one of the things that he explained about it was that uh, Kali gets kind of a bad reputation because she's the mother. She's kind of like very fierce looking sometimes. And he said, everybody's got her wrong because she is a protective mother. And that when we do this chant, that it's invoking um, that motherly protection around us. It's invoking that sort of loving protection. And I saw Kali as that agony and the ecstasy, or that like both fierce and soft and sweet at the same time. Um, so Mata means mother, but Kali is sometimes seen as a little bit of a destroyer, even though she's also a creator at the same time. She's a creator and destroyer simultaneously. And from there, my meditation, um, I don't know if you guys had heard this, or if you maybe know this, if any of you have studied midwifery, that oftentimes in childbirth, um, the mother can have an orgasm to help deliver the baby. And this is so I had an abortion like that. I didn't actually know what I was getting myself into, and they gave me some kind of medicine to cause contractions, and they didn't warn me beforehand. They just sent me home with the medicine. And and I was just like, oh my gosh, what's happening? This is very weird. And I recognized um in it, as I'm alone in my apartment having an abortion, um, I recognized that I had the choice. I had a choice that I could either have, this like uh, orgasmic, ecstatic experience, or I could have this experience of self-punishment. And I recognized that it was the same for both childbirth and abortion, that they were both two sides of the exact same coin. And that was my message today, is that we have this choice about how we're going to birth ourselves and our existence and our creation. We have this choice about if it's going to be ecstatic, or if it's going to be a struggle, if it's going to be agony. And yeah. 1 minute. She's still talking. Eve. Um, oh, can we leave it at this? I think and I really wanted to tell you about the portal Siri, Gian, because I thought it was so remarkable that we had just been talking about the portal like a couple of hours earlier, and I felt the resonance with this.
Okay, can you just give us one more minute about that?
About which? About what?
The portal.
Oh, about for well, so I guess I'll explain a little for Kelly that there was a Lionsgate portal that happened in August, and last week Siri Gian remarked at how huge it was, like how huge feeling it was. Um, but uh, for yeah, for me, I recognized during that time that we're growing at such an exponential rate, and that was part of John Sav's message, is that these huge portals are about to open up, and part of my message is that they're going to continue to open up, that this is part of like the new reality, and that it's part of our evolution and changing DNA. It's part of us evolving as a species and being part of an intergalactic community, and part of being in an Aquarian consciousness. It's part of us growing and shifting and adapting um, ourselves. I think that's it. I think that's the portal.
Okay. Well,
This is Harimander.
yes.
My friend from Mongolia, who is a transcendental meditation meditator, said that on September 12th, there's going to be a worldwide, I suppose, prayer for peace or whatever it is, a time to join other people in whatever the prayer is. I don't know anything more about it than that, but it's coming up, and we'll find out more. Whoever.
Would you share it? Would you share it with us? Because I would like to I think we've participated in that and in the past. I would love to do it again.
Yeah, I that's all I know is the date.
Mhm.
At this point.
It's on September 12th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I had another message for Happy, but it's Baba says, don't make a big deal about it. Is that Baba's birthday is coming up on the 8th of September. So that was for Happy. That was one of my first things, was for happy birthday. And I feel like he's making a joke about his very old age.
Oh, all righty. Well, this is
Mhm.
amazing. Okay.
Mhm.
This is great knowing from all of you. This is great. Okay.
Can I just jump in? I know this is terrible. We got to finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just got a message to say something to Kelly. And so Kelly, regarding light and protection, and what Japa Saraswati was talking about, Kali. In the Christian tradition, there's the Black Madonna, and my old spiritual director, his director was a pupil of Padre Pio, and he was given this meditation, and it was called the meditation of the divine feminine rose. And it's to imagine the light around you, deep red, pink, and gold. And imagine that around you, and put yourself totally under the protection of the Black Madonna. So again, that in that tradition. And she's fiercely protective, like how, and nothing can touch her, because she also loves the demons who have been enslaved into this. So in other words, she's like the ultimate in protection. So the divine feminine rose, red, pink, and gold, all, imagine that all around you. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Now we all seem to have the same situation with
Mhm.
prime female. I guess it's
Yeah.
better. Okay. Good. God bless you all. So meditate on all this and begin. Let's see. I'll get Paul for leading us.
Okay. Oh, this is great. This was great. Okay. So we're going to do heart breath. We're going to inhale deeply into our heart center, and we're going to exhale from our heart center into the world. So please inhale to begin. May
May
the
the time sunshine from you.
all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. Bless you all. Pure
Bless
love. All of you.
Thank you all so much.
My good.
you. Love you
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Yeah.
Love
Okay,
you. Love
see you next
you.
week.